What's going on, model building geeks? Hey, it's Brian with BG Model Workshop, and we're facing a final. That's right, it's the final for the Smokin'Joe's 311 sponsored race day group build. And I wanted to say thanks to Mr. Joe for hosting yet another cool group build. And Joe, if you're out there listening, where are you at, man? Let us know you're doing okay, because I haven't heard much from you in the last couple months. But yeah, we did the, let's see, well, this was a AMT ERTL kit that was produced in 1989, as a matter of fact. Here's our box flap. And I wasn't expecting a whole lot when I got this kit and popped it open. I picked it up at the IPMS Nationals that were held here in Phoenix. I had stumbled across this at somebody's table. I was just looking for car kits. I was buying anything that had four wheels on it that happened to be in the automotive category, because there was planes that had four wheels on them. But there wasn't a whole lot of vendors that were selling car kits. And when I stumbled across this one, the lady was closing up her table for the day, and I was just like, you know, how much you want for this? She goes, I don't know, $10. I'm like, okay, cool. So I gave her $10 for it. And I already had a stack of stuff to carry out of there, so I was very grateful that my nephews were with me, because they helped me lug everything back to the car. But yeah, a lot of fun building this kit. And again, I said it before, I'll say it again. I had no idea the level of detail that was put into this particular kit, this molding. I do have one other kit in the stash. It's another Penske racing team, because that was my dad's favorite. And I do remember watching this car go around the track, watching it on TV as a kid. We were very interested in whether or not this car was going to do well, because it did get the pole. I think it was poles 1, 2, and 3. Positions 1, 2, and 3. This one was the pole sitter for the beginning of the race. But we were very curious about this car because of this specific green stripe right here. And if you guys aren't familiar with this, up until just a few years ago, there was something called the Indy curse, which was any car that had the color green on it was either doomed to do a DNF. I'm not quite sure how that taboo came about, but it was something my dad had shared with me, and I always would joke about the cars with the green stripes. And then the 7-Eleven team shows up with an all green car, and we watched in horror when that thing, I believe, on the one of the practice laps spun out and hit the wall. It didn't even start the race, and it was a DNF. So yeah, those are the good old days, man. But I digress. Again, so the kit was a lot of fun to build. There was a couple things about the assembly of it that was a little fiddly, and we're going to use little Indy here, because we haven't heard from little BG yet, even though Mr. Joe Thompson said he was sending him back. I think he's made a little detour. He must have gotten out of his envelope. But little things that were kind of fiddly are the struts here. Those are very easy to snap off, and luckily I didn't have an issue with that. And luckily, nothing was warped. Everything was nice and level. This is sitting on all four tires. It's not tripoding at all. I had a fear that was going to happen, and there wasn't much of a way to find out other than just putting it all together and finding out. So so we're doing good. It's not hovering, it's not floating, it's doing a great job. And you know, you could probably go in there and bend those little bits here and there, but the plastic's a little on the brittle side, being a 30-plus-year-old kit. So speaking of being 30-plus years old, the decals were bad. Oh man, they were bad. They looked great on the sheet. They were nice and light colored. Everything was fine. And then we put them in the water, and then we put them on the car, and then we took a break to go get some lunch, and then we came back, and everything had curled up off the car. Everything on the nose, all through here. We did the Goodyear logos up on the fronts of the intakes. For the radiator intakes, and then we did the decals all down this side and the green stripe, and they all curled. Oh man, it was horrible. It looked like little mini tacos all over the car, like it had driven through a taco truck. And I was like, well, awesome. That's not, you guys know me, that's not what I said. No, what I did was I remembered that I had some leftover decals from my Miller High Life truck. that I did last August, and I went digging through the decals and found what Mr. George at Vision 124 had sent us. The ones that we didn't use on the truck we had kept, and those were in perfect shape. I'll tell you what. We put those on in the areas where the other ones had come off, and they fit perfectly. So thank you, Mr. George over at Vision 124. You saved our Tukas yet again on a similar project. So I can't do a Miller vehicle without thinking of Mr. George over at 124 now. Vision 124, excuse me. But we did do the white Wallens. We did the white lettering with a Jelly Roll pen. Those are water soluble, so we wanted to do those up, let them dry, and slap them on the car as the last bits to go on there. So they, over time they'll probably wear off a little bit, but for right now they look great. We do have some issues still with our green stripe here and there, so we're waiting for that to fully cure up. So tomorrow I'll probably go after it with the hobby knife and slice off the little extra tabs that are sticking out here and there. If future Brian was to come back and talk to me while I was building this, future Brian would probably say, F the green stripe, just go ahead and grab this bottle of X5 here and just paint on the stripe, because you will thank me for it. And then I would say, you're full of crap, future Brian, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to do the decal anyway, and then be right back where I was. So here we are. Time travel does not help anybody. All the other decals laid down great. We did decide, because the decals were so old, we did decide to try a new technique where we use this guy back here. This is a candle warmer. And then, no, we did not have a seance or pray to any Wiccan gods about decals. What we did was we put a little bowl of water on there and heated it up. I got this idea from the captain over at Space Cadet Models. He talked about using one of these to keep his Earl Grey tea hot, because apparently his food replicator always serves it cold. But he also talked about using a little bowl of water on there to help keep his decals, help him get footloose and fancy free faster because of the warmer water. And this doesn't make it boil or anything. This gets it to a nice, lovely, gee, I want to soak my hand in it level. About the temperature of pee, I guess is the best way to talk about it. But yeah, anyway, let's leave that. We'll just leave that where it's at. But the decals came right off. They went on there beautifully. There was a lot of extra glue on the stuff, so we had to do a lot of extra matting and wiping away of stuff. But as they are now, it looks awesome. So I thought I better film a final before they either flake or peel or whatever. So let's get to it. Let's take off the engine cover. I had no idea when I picked up this kit that I would have this level of detail in here. And we're going to kind of zoom over here like this. And beautifully detailed engine. We can even read the Chevrolet with the bow tie on there. Really cool looking detail pressed into the actual chassis pan for heat shielding. There's some really good looking pipes and stuff molded into the chassis floor. Also for the water cooling system, for the radiator system here. Some computer boxes and stuff like that. And then our little turbocharger that's buried down inside there, but it's still fairly visible. And then we did some bluing with some transparent, transparent Tamiya, the little pots of that stuff. What is that? Let's see here. X23 and X24, the blue and the yellow. Just got those as thin as possible, brushed those on, and I kind of like the look of it. I don't, it doesn't look bad. Let's see, over on this side here we have our air intake horn, which is that weird looking hole, and that actually matches up with a hole in the cover. So we're kind of thinking that this side cover pod here doesn't quite fit on the car quite right. Either there's a warpage in the actual cover itself, or there's something kind of funky going on with our exhaust headers here, because they do seem like they're sitting a little high, and that might be causing it to not want to let the cover set down very well. So I don't know, maybe we'll fudge with it, maybe we won't. But all in all, a really fun build. We did a masking technique for the white area up in here. Because it's asymmetrical, it was a little more difficult to try and mask off. So what we did was he made a photocopy of the actual decal sheet. And I know we've seen people do this recently and everything, but I had read about this technique in a magazine a long time ago, filed it away for future reference, and wouldn't you know, today is the future. So we printed out the decal sheet that we photocopied and then cut out our green stripes. We painted the car white, and then we went over with Tamiya masking tape over the entire area here, and then over the top of the Tamiya masking tape laid down our little stencil area here, and then we just got out the hobby knife and cut out what we needed to cut out, and it looks great. Other than a few little burbles with the green stripe, it's just, I don't know what it is about that green stripe, but it does not want to behave itself. So we're just going to have to let it be. It is what it is, right? All right, guys and gals, it's getting to be, oh my God, 11 minutes. Oh my goodness, I should let you guys all get back to bed. All right, talk to you a little bit later on. We'll be seeing some of you at Acme. Look for hugs and handshakes, folks. We'll talk to you all later on. Bye now.